close your eyes. Feel the warmth of the room you are in right now. Focus on the softness of the pillow beneath your head, the safe weight of the blanket wrapping around you. Leave the noise of the modern world, the stress of the day, and the endless stream of thoughts outside the door. Because tonight, we are going far away. We are traveling across both time and space to a different realm that IT was before comfort was invented. A time when survival was not a given, but victory prevailed 1 second at a time. We are going to the 9th century, to the frozen shores of Scandinavia. Breathe in and breathe out. Slowly detach yourself from the luxury of the present. Let your imagination carry you. It is dark, but this isn't the darkness you know, the kind where streetlights paint the sky a muddy orange. This is the darkness of the void. Absolute, infinite, silent. The only sound is the wind. A relentless, ancient, icy wind that whistles through the cracks of the wooden walls, testing the roof, searching for a way in. You're no longer in your comfortable home. You are in a Viking settlement, nestled in the shadow of steep cliffs on the west coast of Norway. Your name, your job, your identity, they're all gone. You are just an ordinary inhabitant of this village. And I have bad news for you. If you, as a modern human, were transported here right now with your current mind and body, you likely wouldn't survive until sunset. Why? Because this place does not forgive weakness. Our story begins before the sun even rises. You have to wake up. And the very first reason you wouldn't last is hidden right here, in the first second of opening your eyes. You are inside a langus, a longhouse. From the outside, it looks like an overturned ship, a massive wooden structure covered in turf and moss. Inside, it is pitch black. The only light comes from the dying embers of a fire pit, the arenal that runs down the center of the earthen floor. You wake up, but not on a memory foam mattress. Beneath you is hard, packed dirt covered with dry straw and a few animal skins. Every inch of your body aches. The support systems your spine is used or gone. A stone digs into your hip. The ground presses against your shoulder. You wake up feeling as if you've been in a fight. And the smell? Your modern nose is used to perfumes, fabric softeners, and filtered air. But here, your first breath is a mixture of thick wood smoke and life. There is no chimney. There's only a small hole in the roof for smoke to escape. But in winter, that hole is kept small to keep the heat in. So, the room is permanently filled with a hanging fog. Your eyes sting as they open. Your lungs fill with soot. A Viking spends half their life coughing, eyes watering from the acrid air. Worse still, you're not alone. The longhouse is shared. One end is for people. The other end is a barn. Cows, goats, and pigs, they're sleeping under the same roof, just a few meters away. Their breath, their scent, and their sounds are part of your bedroom. Privacy is a concept that hasn't been invented yet. Family, slaves, livestock, you all share body heat to survive. Because the cold outside waits for no one. You try to sit up. You push aside the coarse wool blanket, which scratches your skin incessantly. And that is when reality hits you. The cold. In the modern world, cold means turning up the thermostat or putting on a jacket. Here, the cold is a physical assault. The fire has died down during the night. The air inside is only a few degrees warmer than the freezing air outside. Your breath forms thick white clouds. You stand up. Your bare feet touch the damp, frozen earth floor. Instantly, you feel the heat drain from your body. In your world, you might take a hot shower to wake up. Here, water is in the creek or the well outside. And right now, that water is likely covered in ice. Bathe? Washing in this temperature invites pneumonia. And here, pneumonia is a death sentence. There are no antibiotics, no hospitals, just luck. So, the layer of dirt on your skin is accepted. It is almost an extra layer of protection against the frost. You must get dressed. But even your clothes are an insult to your modern skin. Forget soft cotton. The first thing that touches your body is a rough linen undertunic. It is stiff and abrasive. Over that, you pull on a heavy woolen tunic, soaked in lanolin oil to make it water-resistant. It smells of wet sheep, but it is the only thing keeping you alive. You wrap your legs in tight woolen trousers, binding them with leather straps. No zippers. No elastic bands. Just knots. You pull on your leather shoes, stuffing them with dry grass. Why? Because the thin leather soles are useless against the frozen ground. That grass is your only insulation. Once you're dressed, the most critical task of the day awaits: waking the fire. You have no lighter, no matches, just a piece of flint and a bit of dried fungus, tinder. With shaking, frozen fingers, you must strike a spark. If you fail, there is no food, no heat, no light. Modern mornings are about pushing a button on a coffee machine. Here, breakfast is a physical battle. When the fire finally catches, the smoke thickens again, stinging your throat, but you are grateful. The heat returns. Inside a heavy iron cauldron, yesterday's porridge or stew is frozen solid. You wait for it to melt. Hunger is a constant companion here. You don't ask, "What do I feel like eating?" You eat what exists. Usually, it's salted fish, hard barley bread, and weak beer or sour milk, because the water might kill you. As you eat, you look at the faces around you. Men, women, children, they all wear the same expression: hard, determined, tired. No one is joking. Everyone is conserving energy, because the world outside is about to demand everything they have. Let's be honest. How long would you last? No phone, no notifications, no music, no dopamine hits from a screen. Your mind is left alone with the silence. Modern humans fear silence. We fill it with noise. But here, there is nothing to distract you from the harsh reality. You walk toward the heavy oak door. You push it open. The hinges groan. And then, the wind hits your face like 1,000 invisible knives. The air outside is so cold that the moisture inside your nose freezes instantly. Your eyes water, and the tears turn to ice on your cheeks. The view is breathtaking, yes. Snow-capped mountains, a gray, churning sea, ravens circling overhead. It looks like a painting, but you're not a tourist. You are a figure in this painting who must survive it. Nature calls. Here is a hurdle that breaks the modern spirit. There is no bathroom. You are outside, in the freezing wind, crouching over a pit or behind a shed. No toilet paper, just moss, snow, or smooth stones. The vulnerability of that moment, the biting cold invading your most private spaces, that alone would be enough to make many give up. But the day is just beginning. If you are a man, you might be heading to the forest to chop wood, heavy, brutal labor that blisters your hands. If you are a woman, the work is no lighter. Spinning wool, tending the fire, preserving food, endless, repetitive, backbreaking work. The exercises people do in modern gyms, Viking training, were not a sport here. Lifting logs wasn't for muscles. It was so the roof wouldn't collapse. Pulling ropes wasn't for cardio. It was to drag a ship ashore. Now, bring your focus back to your warm bed. Pull the duvet up a little higher. Push away the phantom cold, the smell of smoke, the hard floor. But remember, in the Viking world, the morning has only just passed. You survived the wake-up call. But now, greater dangers await. The sea is calling. The forest is calling. And above all, war is calling. In the next chapter, we will take you out of the relative safety of the longhouse. We will place you on a wooden plank in the middle of the ocean, aboard a Drakkar. Get ready for rising waves, drenched clothes, and the endless unknown ahead. Life on land was tough, but life at sea, that was a whole different kind of madness. For now, enjoy the warmth. Your eyes are getting heavy. The harsh Viking world is fading, replaced by your soft dreams. You are safe. You are warm. You are here. Good night. Take a deep breath. Let the air fill your lungs, holding it for just a moment, and release. Feel the stillness of the room around you. You are safe. You are warm. The solid ground is beneath you, unwavering and secure. But in our story, the ground is about to vanish. We are leaving the smoky warmth of the longhouse. We are leaving the solid earth of the fjord. In the first chapter, you survive the cold morning. But now, you must face the entity that defined the Viking age more than any sword or shield: the ocean. Let your imagination drift. The timeline shifts back to the 9th century. The air grows saltier. The horizon grows wider. You are about to step aboard a vessel made of oak and ambition. Walk with me down to the shoreline. The pebbles crunch beneath your leather boots. The fog is thick this morning, clinging to the water like a ghostly shroud. Out of the mist, a shape emerges. High, curved, and menacing. It is the silhouette of a dragon's head, carved from dark wood, staring blindly into the distance. This is the Drakkar, the Longship. To the modern eye, it is a masterpiece of engineering. Beautiful, sleek. But to you, standing there with your meager belongings, it looks terrifyingly small against the vastness of the water. You climb aboard. There is no gangway, no polite crew helping you with your luggage. You vault over the gunwale, landing on the deck boards. Immediately, you realize something unsettling. The ship is alive. It moves under your feet, shifting with every ripple of the tide. It creaks. It groans. And here lies the first reason you wouldn't last. There is no shelter. Look around. You are looking for a cabin? A room? A roof? There are none. The deck is open to the sky. From the moment you step on this boat until the moment you land, weeks later, you will be outside. If it rains, you get wet. If it snows, you get buried. If the sun beats down, you burn. There is nowhere to hide. The command is given. The great square sail, woven from heavy wool and strengthened with leather strips, is hoisted. It catches the wind with a heavy thud, and the ship leaps forward. In a modern ferry or cruise ship, stabilizers keep the vessel flat. You barely feel the motion, but a Viking longship is designed to be flexible. It twists with the waves. It rides over the water, not through it. This means you feel everything. Every swell, every drop, every roll. For the modern inner ear, this is torture. Seasickness isn't just a possibility. It is a guarantee. Imagine the nausea rising, the dizziness that never stops because the horizon never stops moving. There are no pills to take, no ginger ale to sip. You simply have to endure it, clutching the side of the ship, while the icy spray of the North Sea hits your face over and over again. And you cannot simply lie down and recover. You have a job. If the wind dies, you row. Have you ever used a rowing machine at the gym? Imagine doing that for 6 hours straight. Now, imagine the oar is heavy pine, the handle is wet and slippery, and your hands are freezing. Your blisters will form within the first hour. By the second day, they will tear open. The salt water will find those wounds, stinging like fire. But you must keep the rhythm. Pull, glide, pull, glide. Let's talk about your personal space. See that wooden chest near your feet? That is your seat. That is your closet. And that is your bed. You are sharing this small, open deck with 30 other large, unwashed warriors. The concept of personal bubbles does not exist here. You're shoulder to shoulder, breathing the same air, smelling the mixture of wet wool, old sweat, and tar. And the bathroom? There is no bathroom. This is perhaps the detail that breaks the modern spirit the fastest. There's only a bucket or the edge of the ship. Doing your business while balancing on a rolling deck, exposed to the eyes of your crewmates and the freezing wind, is a humiliation and a physical challenge that wears you down day by day. Hunger sets in. What is for dinner on the high seas? There is no fire on board. Fire is too dangerous on a wooden ship. So, there is no hot food. For weeks, you will eat stockfish, dried, unsalted cod that is as hard as wood. You have to beat it with a hammer just to break off a piece, and then chew it for an hour to soften it enough to swallow. It tastes of nothing but salt and old fish. You wash it down with water that has been sitting in a leather skin for days, tasting slightly stale or weak sour beer. You dream of a hot coffee, a warm slice of bread, a fresh apple. But those are memories of a future that hasn't happened yet. The sun begins to set. The gray sky turns to a bruised purple, then to absolute black. This is when the true psychological weight of the Viking life settles in. In a modern world, we banish the night with switches and screens. Here, when the sun goes down, you are alone with the abyss. There are no lighthouses, no GPS, no Coast Guard to call if things go wrong. The captain navigates by the stars and the feel of the swell. If the clouds cover the stars, you are sailing blind into the void. It is time to sleep. But how? You do not have a hammock. You do not have a bunk. You unzip your sleeping bag, which is actually a sack made of animal skin, hud fat. You crawl inside it, right there on the hard, wet deck boards. You lie down between the rowing benches. If you're lucky, they might set up a tent-like awning over the deck to keep the worst of the rain off. But usually, you're sleeping under the stars. Close your eyes and imagine trying to sleep now. The floor beneath you is hard timber. The ship is constantly rolling left, right, up, down. You can hear the water rushing just inches from your head, separated only by a thin plank of oak. The ocean is loud. It hisses, it roars, it slaps against the wood. The wind howls through the rigging, a mournful, high-pitched song that never stops. It is cold, a damp, seeping cold that gets into your bones. You curl up tight in your leather sack, shivering, trying to preserve your body heat. You can hear the breathing of the men around you, the occasional cough, the shifting of bodies trying to find comfort where there is none. And yet, amidst this misery, there is a strange, hypnotic beauty. Listen to the sound of the ocean. Whoosh creak, whoosh creak. It is a rhythm older than humanity. The ship rocks you. It is a violent cradle, yes, but a cradle nonetheless. The repetition begins to lull your exhausted brain. The fear of the deep, dark water slowly fades into a trance. You are a speck of dust on the infinite ocean. You have no control. You must surrender. Surrender to the motion. Surrender to the cold. Surrender to the drift. The modern world of deadlines, emails, and traffic is gone. There is only the wind. There is only the wood. There is only the water. Your breathing slows down, matching the rhythm of the waves. And like the rising swell, out like the falling trough. You have survived the first day at sea. But the journey has only just begun. Ahead of you lies land, a foreign coast shrouded in mist, a place of monasteries, gold, and resistance. The sea was a trial of endurance. But what waits for you on dry land will be a trial of blood and steel. For now, stay in the boat. Stay in the rhythm. The dragon ship carries you forward through the night. You are safe in your bed. The cold spray is just a story. The hard deck is just a whisper. Drift along with the waves. Drift and sleep. The rhythm of the waves is fading now. The endless rocking motion that has been your world for days is changing. The horizon, once an empty line of gray, has grown teeth. Jagged rocks, dark forests, land. You are approaching the coast of what will one day be England or France. But for you, it is simply the West. Take a deep breath. Can you smell it? The air is different here. It smells of wet earth, pine trees, and smoke. The clean, sharp scent of the open ocean is replaced by the heavy, complex odors of land. The ship slows down. The sail is lowered with a heavy rustle of canvas. The oars are pulled in. Silence falls over the crew. The time for dreaming is over. The time for iron has come. In movies, Vikings are often shown leaping effortlessly from ships, running up the beach like Olympic sprinters. But you would not run. You would barely be able to walk. Why? Because of what you must wear. Let's put on your protection. First, the padded gambeson, a thick, quilted coat stuffed with wool or horsehair. It is stiff, hot, and bulky. Then comes the byrnie, your chainmail shirt. Imagine lifting a bag of cement. Now imagine wearing it. 25 pounds of iron rings. Thousands of them riveted together. You pull it over your head. It slides down with a metallic hiss like a snake. Clink, shhh clink. The weight settles instantly on your shoulders. It presses down on your spine. It constricts your chest. Every breath you take now requires more effort. You're not just wearing a shirt. You are wearing an anchor. And then the helmet. It is not the horned fantasy you see in cartoons. It is a simple, brutal bowl of iron with a spectacle guard for your eyes and nose. You put it on. Suddenly, your world shrinks. Your peripheral vision is gone. Your hearing is muffled. You can only see what is directly in front of you. You feel enclosed, claustrophobic. The sound of your own breathing echoes inside the metal shell. Ha! Ha! The keel of the Longship grinds against the pebbles. Crunch! The ship stops violently. You are thrown forward, catching yourself on the gunwale. Out! Out! The whispers come down the line. You have to get off. Now! But there is no dock. There is no dry land yet. There's no dry land yet. You swing your leg and fall down. Splash. You expected the water to be knee-deep. It is waist-deep, and it is freezing. The shock hits you instantly. The icy water floods into your leather boots, soaking your wool trousers, seeping under your armor. Your muscles tighten involuntarily. You gasp for air, but the iron on your chest makes it hard to expand your lungs. You try to move toward the beach, but the seabed is soft mud. Your feet sink. The mud sucks at your boots. Every step is a battle. You are carrying your own body weight, plus 30 pounds of wet wool and iron, plus a heavy wooden shield in one hand and an axe in the other. You stumble. You slip. If you fall here, in the water, with all this weight, you might not get up. The panic rises. This isn't glorious. This is a clumsy, desperate wade through freezing sludge. Finally, your boots hit solid gravel. You drag yourself up onto the gray, stony beach. Gravity feels different here. After days of the ship tossing you up and down, the solid ground feels wrong. The world seems to be spinning even though you are standing still. Land sickness hits you. You feel dizzy, heavy, nauseous. You look up. Before you is a wall of green, a dense, ancient forest that stretches endlessly. It is quiet, too quiet. Modern humans are used to background noise, cars, electricity, hums. But this silence is heavy. It hides things. Is there an army waiting in those trees? Are there archers behind those rocks? You are shivering uncontrollably now, partly from the freezing swim, partly from the adrenaline dumping into your system. Your teeth chatter, a sound that seems incredibly loud inside your helmet. Click, click, click. You're not a superhero. You're cold, wet, tired, and carrying too much weight. And you are terrified. This is the part history books leave out. They talk about fury and berserkers. They don't talk about the exhaustion. Your heart is pounding against your ribs like a trapped bird. The handle of your axe is slick with sea spray and sweat. You grip it so tight your knuckles turn white. You are one Viking now, but you don't feel like a conqueror. You feel like a survivor, clinging to life on the edge of a hostile continent. But for now, stop that stop. Freeze that image. You standing on the gray beach, the forest ahead, the ship behind. Take a step back. Let the armor dissolve from your shoulders. Feel the weight lift. Let the freezing water evaporate. Feel the warmth of your own bed return. The softness of your pillow replaces the hard iron of the helmet. The silence of the ancient forest is replaced by the safe, familiar silence of your room. You have made it to land. You have survived the landing. But the true test of the Viking spirit, the encounter with the unknown, is yet to come. For now, you can rest. You can let go of the shield. You can let go of the fear. The ground beneath you is safe. Sleep. You have left the gray beach behind. The sun has dipped below the horizon, and twilight, the blue hour, has settled over the land. You and your kin have moved inland, just enough to find shelter among the trees. The forest here is old. It is not like the managed parks of the modern world. These trees are massive, their roots twisting out of the ground like the gnarled fingers of giants. The canopy is so thick that it blocks out the early stars. There are no tents. A Viking raiding party travels light. You find a dry spot beneath a great oak tree. This is your home for the night. The physical labor begins again. You're not resting yet. You're gathering wood. In the modern world, you flip a switch for light. Here, you must fight the encroaching darkness with your own hands. You scour the forest floor for dry moss, birch bark, and fallen branches. Finally, the spark catches. A small flame dances into life. It is the most beautiful thing you have ever seen. The fire grows, crackling and popping, pushing back the shadows. The warmth hits your face, thawing your frozen cheeks. You strip off your wet boots. You hang your damp socks near the flames. Steam rises from your clothes, smelling of wet wool and wood smoke. For a moment, you feel safe. The circle of light is your fortress. Beyond it, the forest breathes and watches, but here, close to the fire, you are alive. Hunger returns. A deep, primal hunger that gnaws at your stomach. You haven't eaten a hot meal in days. Tonight, there is no menu. There is no choice. An iron cauldron is suspended over the fire. Into it goes water from a nearby stream. a handful of dried herbs found in a pouch, and chunks of salted meat, perhaps pork or mutton, brought from the ship. You wait. The smell of the stew begins to drift through the cold air. To a modern palate, it would be bland, perhaps too salty, lacking spices. But to you, right now, it smells like heaven. You're handed a wooden bowl. You use your own spoon, carved from bone, which you carry at your belt at all times. The first bite burns your tongue, but you don't care. The hot liquid warms you from the inside out. It spreads through your chest, relaxing the muscles that have been tensed for so long. You eat in silence, shoulder to shoulder with your crew. There is a brotherhood here that the modern world has forgotten. You rely on the person sitting next to you for your life. You don't need to talk. The chewing, the slurping, the crackling of the fire. These are the sounds of survival. Your belly is full. A heaviness settles over your eyelids. The adrenaline of the landing is fading, replaced by a crushing exhaustion. You lean back against the rough bark of the oak tree. Look up. Through a gap in the branches, you see them. The stars. They are brighter than you have ever seen them in the 21st century. Without light pollution, the Milky Way looks like a spilled river of milk across the sky. And then, a shimmer of green, the aurora borealis, the northern lights. To a modern human, this is a scientific phenomenon. Magnetic particles hitting the atmosphere. But to you, a Viking, this is the Bifrost, the bridge to Asgard. Or perhaps it is the reflection of the Valkyrie's armor as they ride to choose the dead. This is the deepest reason you might struggle here, the fear. You're not alone in this forest. The world is filled with spirits, trolls in the rocks, elves in the shadows, the Norns, weaving your fate like a thread. You believe, with every fiber of your being, that your death has already been written. The date is set. You cannot change it. This belief is terrifying, but also liberating. If your fate is written, why worry? Why fear the dark? You let out a long breath. You surrender to the WIRD, to fate. The fear of the unknown transforms into a quiet acceptance. You are small. The universe is vast. And that is okay. Here are the remaining parts of the series, tailored to guide the listener from the tension of the Viking world into a deep, restful sleep. You have left the gray beach behind. The sun has dipped below the horizon, and twilight, the blue hour, has settled over the land. You and your kin have moved inland, just enough to find shelter among the trees. The forest here is old. It is not like the managed parks of the modern world. These trees are massive, their roots twisting out of the ground like the gnarled fingers of giants. The canopy is so thick that it blocks out the early stars. There are no tents. A Viking raiding party travels light. You find a dry spot beneath a great oak tree. This is your home for the night. The physical labor begins again. You are not resting yet. You are gathering wood. In the modern world, you flip a switch for light. Here, you must fight the encroaching darkness with your own hands. You scour the forest floor for dry moss, birch bark, and fallen branches. Finally, the spark catches. A small flame dances into life. It is the most beautiful thing you have ever seen. The fire grows, crackling and popping, pushing back the shadows. The warmth hits your face, thawing your frozen cheeks. You strip off your wet boots. You hang your damp socks near the flames. Steam rises from your clothes, smelling of wet wool and wood smoke. For a moment, you feel safe. The circle of light is your fortress. Beyond it, the forest breathes and watches, but here, close to the fire, you are alive. Hunger returns. A deep, primal hunger that gnaws at your stomach. You haven't eaten a hot meal in days. Tonight, there is no menu. There is no choice. An iron cauldron is suspended over the fire. Into it goes water from a nearby stream, a handful of dried herbs found in a pouch, and chunks of salted meat, perhaps pork or mutton, brought from the ship. You wait. The smell of the stew begins to drift through the cold air. To a modern palate, it would be bland, perhaps too salty, lacking spices. But to you right now, it smells like heaven. You are handed a wooden bowl. You use your own spoon, carved from bone, which you carry at your belt at all times. The first bite burns your tongue, but you don't care. The hot liquid warms you from the inside out. It spreads through your chest, relaxing the muscles that have been tense for so long. You eat in silence, shoulder to shoulder with your crew. There is a brotherhood here that the modern world has forgotten. You rely on the person sitting next to you for your life. You don't need to talk. The chewing, the slurping, the crackling of the fire, these are the sounds of survival. Your belly is full. A heaviness settles over your eyelids. The adrenaline of the landing is fading, replaced by a crushing exhaustion. You lean back against the rough bark of the oak tree. Look up. Through a gap in the branches, you see them. The stars. They are brighter than you have ever seen them in the 21st century. Without light pollution, the Milky Way looks like a spilled river of milk across the sky. And then, a shimmer of green. The aurora borealis. The northern lights. To a modern human, this is a scientific phenomenon. Magnetic particles hitting the atmosphere. But to you, a Viking, this is the Bifrost, the bridge to Asgard. Or perhaps it is the reflection of the Valkyries' armor as they ride to choose the dead.